Welcome, everyone. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt small when someone speaks English very fast? Have you ever stayed quiet because you were scared to make a mistake, scared to say the wrong word, or scared that people might laugh at you? I know that feeling very well because I lived with it for many years. But today, I want to share something different with you. Today, I will tell you the real story of how I learned English in only 5 months, even though I started as a complete beginner who could not answer one simple question in a job interview. And I promise you this: by the end of this video, you will know the exact method I used, step by step, so you can use it too, and finally start speaking English with confidence. Section 1. My beginning. Failure, fear, and embarrassment. My story begins on a hot Monday morning, the day of my first real job interview. I woke up early, dressed in my best shirt, and tried to look confident in the mirror. My hands were shaking, but I told myself, "It's okay, just try your best." I walked into the company building with hope in my heart. I wanted this job so much. I wanted to help my family, to feel proud, to finally move forward in life. But what happened inside that small interview room changed everything. The interviewer looked at my CV and smiled. Then he asked me one simple question in English. Just one. A very basic question. Can you tell me about yourself? And in that moment, my mind completely stopped. My brain froze. I could hear my heartbeat, but I could not hear my own voice. I knew some words. I knew how to answer. But my mouth did not move. My thoughts disappeared. There was only silence. The interviewer waited. I felt my face getting hot. I felt small, like a child who didn't belong there. After a few painful seconds, I tried to speak, but no sound came out. Finally, the interviewer gave a polite smile, closed the file, and said, "It's okay. Thank you for coming." I walked out of the room with my head down. My legs felt heavy. I didn't want anyone to see my face. That moment, that silence, stayed inside my heart like a deep cut. It was my first painful moment, and I knew I would never forget it. When I got on the bus to go home, I sat near the window and stared outside. The city was moving, but I felt completely stuck. My mind was loud with questions. Why am I like this? Why can't I speak? Why can other people talk easily while I cannot say even one simple sentence? I felt ashamed. I felt weak. I felt like I was behind everyone. For a long time, I said nothing. I just listened to my own breathing and tried not to cry. And then a small thought came into my mind. If I want a better life, I need a better skill. It was simple, but it felt true. When I reached home, my mother was waiting for me. She smiled softly and asked, "How was the interview?" I looked at her, but my voice didn't come out. I didn't want to tell her that I had failed again. I didn't want her to worry. So I just said, "It was okay," and walked to my room. But inside, I knew the truth. I realized I was not only disappointing myself, I was disappointing the people I loved. And that feeling hurt more than anything else. That evening, I sat on the floor of my room and closed my eyes. I felt the pain very clearly. But now I understand. Sometimes pain is not a punishment. Pain can be a message. Pain can be the beginning of change, and this pain became the start of my journey. Section 2. The day everything changed. The day after the interview, I woke up feeling heavy, like the whole world was sitting on my shoulders. I went to the bathroom, turned on the light, and looked at myself in the mirror. For a moment, I didn't even recognize the person staring back. My eyes looked tired. My face looked older. I could see the disappointment clearly. Not just the disappointment from yesterday, but the disappointment from many years of avoiding English, many years of fear, many years of telling myself, I will learn later. I stood there for a long time, holding the edge of the sink. And then something inside me spoke. It was not a loud voice. It was a quiet, strong one. It said, nobody is coming to save me. Nobody was going to fix my English for me. Nobody was going to give me confidence. Nobody was going to magically change my life. If I wanted a different future, I had to build it myself. That simple thought hit me like cold water. It woke me up. Right there in front of the mirror, I made a decision. A clear, simple, powerful decision. I will fix my English in 5 months. I didn't know exactly how I would do it. I didn't have a perfect plan. I didn't have money for an expensive teacher or a big English course. But I had something stronger than money. I had commitment. I had a deep desire to change. And that desire was enough to start. So I created one rule for myself. One rule that would guide my whole journey. I said it out loud to make it real. I will give English 1 hour every day. No excuses. Not when I feel motivated, not when I have time, not when everything is perfect. Every single day, 1 hour and no excuses. That rule became the first brick in the new life I was about to build. Section 3. The first 15 days. My foundation method. In the beginning of my English journey, I slowly understood that my biggest problem was not vocabulary. I actually knew many common words. I could read simple sentences, and sometimes I could even understand short videos. My real problem was speaking. Every time I tried to speak English, something strange happened. My brain suddenly became empty. My mouth refused to move. It felt like someone pressed a pause button inside my head. I wanted to speak, but I couldn't. And behind that silence, there was fear. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of sounding strange. Fear that people would judge me. This fear created a block inside me, a heavy wall that stopped every word before it reached my mouth. One night, I sat alone and asked myself, why can I understand but cannot speak? Then a simple truth became clear to me. English is not only in the brain, English is also in the mouth, your lips, your tongue, your jaw. They all need training. I had spent years learning English silently, but I had never trained my mouth to produce English sounds confidently. That was the moment I decided to begin my 15-day foundation method. A simple plan to break my speaking block and build real confidence. During the first 5 days, I focused only on mouth training. I didn't open grammar books or study difficult vocabulary. Instead, I chose very simple sentences that even children learn first. Sentences like, this is a pen, I have a job, I want to learn, I wake up early, today is a new day. I said each sentence slowly, again and again, until my mouth finally started to move naturally. I repeated each sentence 10, 20, sometimes 30 times. While I repeated, I said a small sentence to motivate myself. I repeat to become. I repeat to become. I repeat to become. And slowly, repetition started changing me from the inside. My fear became smaller. My voice became stronger. From day 6 to day 10, I started shadowing practice. This means listening to something and repeating it at the same time or right after. I didn't choose difficult materials. I picked small clips, children's stories, and easy English conversations. Sometimes the clips were only 30 seconds long. When I shadowed, I didn't worry about understanding every word. I focused on the rhythm and the music of English, because English really has a natural rhythm. It rises and falls like a song. When I listened carefully, I could feel that English was not only language, it was music. I paused after each sentence, repeated it, listened again, and repeated again. Some days, I repeated the same sentence 10 times until it sounded smoother. And little by little, my English started to flow more naturally. I stopped sounding like a robot. My sentences began to feel alive. The last 5 days, from day 11 to day 15, were the hardest but also the most powerful. I created what I called the 5-minute rule. Every day, I had to speak English for 5 minutes without stopping. It didn't matter if my grammar was wrong. It didn't matter if I forgot vocabulary. I had to keep speaking. I talked about easy topics, my daily routine, my family, my dreams, my job, what I did yesterday, what I want in the future. Some days, I repeated the same ideas again and again because I didn't know what else to say. But the important thing was this. I kept talking. I refused to be silent. And something amazing happened. When I pushed myself to speak continuously, my brain slowly learned to send words faster. My mouth learned to move without freezing. After 5 days of the 5-minute rule, speaking still felt difficult, but it no longer felt impossible. Of course, these days were not easy at all. Many times I felt stupid, especially when I couldn't pronounce simple words like world, girl, or comfortable. Many times, I stood alone in my room, struggling, repeating words again and again, feeling embarrassed even though nobody was watching me. I sometimes became angry at myself because I wanted fast results. I wanted to speak perfectly, but every time I felt that frustration, I asked myself one simple question. Why not now? Why not today? Why wait for tomorrow? Why wait for motivation? Why wait for perfect conditions? I decided that today was enough. Now was enough. That mindset kept me going. I did the 15-day foundation method every single day without missing even one day. And by the end of those 15 days, something inside me had changed forever. My fear became smaller. My confidence became bigger. The speaking block that controlled my life began to break. Those first 15 days were the beginning of my real transformation. Section 4. The second month. Growing confidence. The second month feels different. You are no longer confused or lost. You wake up with a sense of direction, the kind you didn't have before. Your routine becomes your silent partner, quietly pushing you forward even on days when your energy feels low. You wake up and begin with a 10-minute shadowing session, repeating soft English sentences, warming up your mouth and mind. Then you move into 20 minutes of reading, slow, clear, focused reading that teaches you rhythm, structure, and natural vocabulary. After that, you give yourself 20 minutes of speaking practice, where your voice becomes more confident, more stable, and finally, you finish with 10 minutes of writing small paragraphs. Just simple thoughts, simple sentences, but they create big progress. This routine becomes your anchor. As the days pass, you begin to notice small victories. For the first time, you understand YouTube videos without subtitles. Maybe not everything, but enough to feel the change. You begin speaking short sentences naturally, without freezing. And when you hear yourself improving, you feel something new. Pride. A soft, warm pride that tells you, I am getting better. These victories may look small from the outside, but inside, they feel big. They feel like proof that your effort is working. And then comes one of the most powerful lessons of the entire journey, the discipline lesson. When motivation dies, discipline saves you. In the first month, motivation was strong. Everything felt new and exciting. But in the second month, the excitement starts to fade. The routine feels repetitive. The progress feels slow. Some mornings you don't want to wake up early. Some nights you don't want to read. This is the moment most learners quit. Not because they are weak, but because they never learned the difference between motivation and discipline. Discipline is what keeps you moving when your feelings try to stop you. Discipline is the voice that says, do it anyway. And this month, you begin to build that voice. You also face real pain points. You feel tired after work, mentally and physically. You battle laziness, the simple desire to rest, scroll, or distract yourself. Doubt appears again, whispering, are you sure this is working? But something inside you has changed. You don't stop. Even when the routine feels heavy, you push through. Not perfectly, not with excitement, but with commitment. And that commitment becomes your strength. By the end of the second month, you realize something important. You are no longer hoping to improve. You are improving. Slowly, quietly, steadily. Confidence is no longer a dream. It is something you are building every day. Section 5. The third month. Real conversations. The third month is where everything becomes real. Until now, you were practicing alone, reading, shadowing, speaking to yourself, writing small paragraphs. But now you step into a completely new experience, talking to a real person. When you meet your first online partner, your hands feel cold. Your heart beats fast. You are nervous, sweating, and overthinking every sentence before it comes out. The first sentence escapes your mouth shakily, almost like your voice doesn't belong to you. But then something unexpected happens. Your partner smiles. They are kind, patient, and encouraging. Suddenly, you realize that the world is not judging you. People actually want to help. Talking with your partner teaches you something powerful. You learn more in 10 minutes of real conversation than in hours of studying alone. You begin learning through mistakes, the natural human way. You mispronounce common words, and your partner gently corrects you. Sometimes you forget simple words like yesterday, because, or comfortable. Instead of feeling embarrassed, you start laughing at your mistakes. And slowly, you understand a deep truth. Mistakes are not signs of failure. Mistakes are teachers. They show you where you need to grow. They show you that learning happens when you try, not when you hide. Every time you say something wrong and then correct it, you improve. You feel lighter, freer, and more open to learning. Then comes your breakthrough moment. It happens on a random day. A day when you feel normal, nothing special. But during a practice session, you suddenly realize you have been talking for 20 minutes without stopping. You are not translating in your head. You are not freezing. You are simply talking. And for the first time, you feel alive in English. You feel a spark inside your chest, a small shock of pride and excitement. This is the moment you tell yourself, I can do this. Everything you practiced, the shadowing, the reading, the writing, the small victories, led you here. This is the moment that shows you the truth. English is no longer something you study. It is something you live. As you grow more confident with speaking, you begin to adopt a vocabulary strategy that actually works. No more trying to memorize long lists of words. Instead, you focus on learning just 5 words a day. Small, simple, but powerful. And the key is not just learning the words, it's using them immediately in a sentence. When you learn a new word, you make it real by speaking it. For example, word, opportunity, sentence. English gives me more opportunity. This simple technique transforms vocabulary from something you memorize into something you own. 5 words a day means 150 words a month. Real, useful, active words that become part of your speaking ability. And when you use them in conversations, they stick. By the end of the 3rd month, everything feels different. English is no longer a scary wall. It becomes a door you can finally open. You talk, you listen, you make mistakes, you learn, and you grow. And for the first time, you truly believe that fluency is not only possible, it is happening. Section 6, the 4th month, real-life improvements. The 4th month of my English journey was full of small but powerful moments that made me realize real progress. One of the first signs of improvement came while watching movies with subtitles. Before, I could barely follow a conversation and jokes felt completely lost. But now, for the first time, I started understanding the humor. I laughed at the same moments as the characters, catching the puns and wordplays. It was a small moment, but it gave me an enormous feeling of pride. I could see that the hours I spent practicing, repeating sentences, shadowing, and speaking alone were actually working. This was real growth, not just theory or practice. It was proof that my English was becoming alive inside me. Another change I noticed was in my speaking. I could finally speak without overthinking every word. Sentences started coming naturally, flowing from my brain to my mouth without hesitation. When I walked in the street, waiting for a bus, or even cooking at home, I found myself practicing English in every spare minute. Sometimes I spoke quietly to myself. Sometimes I repeated favorite sentences aloud. Sometimes I tried to describe what I saw around me in English. Speaking was no longer a scary, forced task. It became automatic, like brushing my teeth or tying my shoes. This automatic speaking was a huge shift from the frozen, nervous person I had been only a few months before. The 4th month also brought a wonderful and unexpected joy. Encouraging others. Some friends and classmates started noticing my improvement. They asked me, "How do you speak so confidently now?" Or, "What method are you using?" At first I was surprised. I had been so focused on my own learning that I hadn't thought about teaching or helping others yet. But sharing my tips, encouraging friends to practice, and seeing them try and improve gave me a new kind of happiness. It was more than pride. It was the feeling of being a new person. I could see the difference not only in myself, but also in how I could impact others. That realization made me even more motivated to continue practicing, learning, and growing. By the end of the 4th month, English was no longer just a skill I wanted. It had become part of my life. Movies, conversations, even small talks with friends now felt possible. I felt confident, alive, and capable. And I knew that if I kept this effort up, the next month would bring even more transformation. Section 7. The fifth month, transformation. The fifth month of my English journey brought the moment I had been waiting for. The chance to test everything I had worked for. A new job opportunity appeared, this time at a different company. I prepared my CV, rehearsed my sentences quietly, and reminded myself of everything I had learned in the past months. When I walked into the interview room, my heart was calm. I was nervous, of course, but it was a different nervousness, the kind that felt alive and motivating, not paralyzing. Then came the question I had once feared so much. Can you tell me about yourself? In that moment, I remembered my first interview when my brain had frozen and my mouth had refused to move. But now, something inside me had changed. I took a deep breath, smiled, and answered smoothly. The words came out naturally, flowing from my mind to my mouth without hesitation. I spoke clearly, confidently, and without fear. My voice sounded strong, calm, and sure. The interviewer listened, smiled, and nodded. Each sentence I spoke felt like proof that all the hours, all the practice, all the struggle had led to this moment. By the end of the interview, I knew I had done well. When the company called a few days later, I could barely believe my ears. I got the job. A wave of happiness and relief washed over me. I had achieved something I never thought possible 5 months ago. My hands shook slightly as I prepared to tell my mother. When I walked into our home and said, "Mom, I got the job," her eyes filled with tears. I felt my own tears coming too. We hugged silently, feeling the weight of everything we had hoped for and dreamed about. In that quiet moment, pride and happiness filled the room. It was not just about the money or the position. It was about proving to myself that I could change my life, that I could overcome fear, and that I could grow into a better version of myself. English had opened new doors for me in ways I could never have imagined. It gave me a better job, a higher salary, and a new sense of confidence. But more importantly, it gave me a new identity. I was no longer the person who froze in interviews, who stayed quiet out of fear, or who doubted their own abilities. I was someone capable of learning, growing, and facing challenges with courage. English became more than a language for me. It became a key to opportunities, self-expression, and personal transformation. Looking back, I realized that these 5 months were not just about learning a language. They were about learning discipline, persistence, and self-belief. They were about taking responsibility for my life and refusing to wait for someone else to save me. I changed my life with small, consistent steps, with daily practice, and with the courage to face my fears. And that is the moment I will never forget. The moment I realized that real change is possible when you are willing to try every single day. Section 8. The Real Method. Now that I have shared my story, it's time to show you the real method I used to learn English in just 5 months. This is not theory or advice from a book. This is the method I followed every single day, step by step. If you follow it consistently, it can work for you too. The first step is fix your mouth. Many learners spend years reading and listening, but their mouth is never trained. English sounds strange at first. Your tongue feels heavy. Your lips do not move the way they should. So you must start with daily repetition. Choose very simple sentences, the kind you might learn as a child. Say them slowly, clearly, and repeat them for 5 minutes every day. Sentences like, I am happy, I have a job, or today is a good day. The goal is not to speak perfectly at first. The goal is to move your mouth, train your tongue, and build confidence. Repetition is powerful. Every day you practice, and your mouth becomes free. Your speech becomes smoother. Fear of speaking begins to disappear. The second step is shadowing. Shadowing means listening to something in English and repeating it immediately. It could be a short story, a YouTube clip, or a children's video. Do this for about 10 minutes every day. Focus on rhythm, pronunciation, and natural flow. Don't worry about understanding every word. Focus on how the English sounds, how it rises and falls, and how sentences connect. Shadowing teaches your brain and mouth to work together. It trains your ear to English patterns and helps your speaking sound more natural. The third step is to speak non-stop. Set a timer for 5 minutes and speak in English without stopping. Talk about your day, your family, your dreams, or anything you like. The key is to keep the words flowing. Don't pause to think too much. Don't worry about mistakes. Just let your voice move. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. You may repeat sentences, forget words, or stumble. That is okay. The point is continuous speaking. This trains your brain to produce English without freezing. Your confidence grows every day. The fourth step is learn 5 words a day. But don't just memorize them. Write them, say them out loud, and use them in real sentences immediately. For example, if you learn the word opportunity, say, English gives me more opportunity. Using words in sentences helps them stick in your memory. Slowly, your vocabulary grows and you can speak about many topics. Learning a few words every day is better than trying to memorize hundreds at once. Consistency is stronger than volume. The fifth step is build a daily routine. Commit to 1 hour every day. Spend 5 minutes on mouth exercises, 10 minutes shadowing, 20 minutes speaking non-stop, 10 minutes writing, and 5 minutes learning new words. The exact numbers can change, but the key is consistency over perfection. 1 hour every day is enough if you follow the method seriously. Skipping days slows progress. Practicing even imperfectly every day builds real skill. Finally, a few words of motivation. Many people think, I am too old, I am too late, or I am not smart enough to learn English. I have been there. I thought the same. But none of that is true. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are not stupid. You just need the right method, and the right method is not about memorizing grammar rules or expensive courses. It is about daily practice, repetition, speaking, listening, and small steps every day. Follow these steps patiently. Give your mouth, your brain, and your heart time to learn. Celebrate small victories. Speak even when you make mistakes. Correct yourself, but never stop. Over weeks and months, you will see the change. Speaking English will feel natural. Your confidence will grow. Opportunities will open. And one day you will look back at the beginning of your journey and realize that this method changed your life. It is simple, it is powerful, and it works. You just need to start today. Section 9. Final message. Listen to me carefully. I want you to hear every word because it could change your life. If I can do it, you can do it. 5 months ago, I was someone who froze when speaking English. I was nervous, scared, and full of doubt. But today, I can speak, I can understand, and I can grow. And the only reason I changed my life is that I decided to start and I kept going every single day. Your future is waiting for you. It is not waiting for tomorrow, next week, or when you feel ready. It is waiting for you now, in this very moment. Every second you wait is a second lost. Start today. Not tomorrow, not next Monday. Today. Open your notebook, open your mouth, open your mind, and take the first small step. Small steps every day lead to massive change. And I want you to make a promise, not just to me, but to yourself. Write in the comments, I will start today. Let it be a reminder that you are serious. Let it be the first brick in the life you are going to build. I believe in you. I really do. I believe in your power, your courage, and your ability to change. Nothing is too late. Nothing is too difficult. You just need the right method, the right mindset, and the willingness to try. If you take these steps, if you follow the path I showed you, I promise you will see progress. You will feel confident. You will feel proud. And one day, you will look back and thank yourself for starting today. So, start. Right now. Your journey begins here.